Live right now to UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who is in India. He's speaking right now.
We've been sending more artillery and doing everything possible to help the people of Ukraine defend themselves in those areas. And at the same time, the extraordinary fortitude and the success of President Zelensky and the Ukrainian people in resisting Russian forces in Kyiv means that I can announce today that we will very shortly, next week, reopen our embassy in Ukraine's capital city. I want to pay tribute to those British diplomats who remained elsewhere in the region throughout this period. The United Kingdom and our allies will not watch passively as Putin carries on this onslaught. And what I think we've seen here in New Delhi is one of the world's oldest democracies and the world's largest democracy sticking together and confronting our shared anxieties about autocracies and autocratic coercion around the world and acting together to make our countries safer and more prosperous. Our new and expanded defence and security partnership will enable India to strengthen its own domestic defence industry, as well as protecting vital shared interests in the Indo-Pacific. Our collaboration on energy security, including our new offer on offshore wind, the new UK-India Hydrogen Science and Innovation Hub, and our joint work on solar power, will help to reduce our collective dependence on imported hydrocarbons in favour of cheaper and more sustainable homegrown renewables. And our global innovation partnership will help transfer climate and energy smart innovations to developing countries around the wider Indo-Pacific. As we deepen the partnership between our countries, we won't just make our people safer, we'll make them more prosperous as well, creating new jobs, driving up wages and driving down prices for consumers, all of which helps with the cost of living. And our partnership with India is particularly powerful in achieving these things because India is an incredible rising power in Asia, one of the fastest growing economies in the world, already worth £2.25 trillion and set to be the world's third largest economy by 2050. India is also our biggest partner in the Indo-Pacific, which is increasingly the geopolitical centre of the world, with 2/3 of humanity and 1/3 of the global economy. And that share is rising every year. Indian investment already supports almost 500,000 British jobs. And with a population bigger than the US and the EU combined, there is so much potential for us to take our trade and investment to a whole new level. On this visit alone, we've secured new deals worth £1 billion, creating more than 11,000 jobs, and perhaps most significantly of all, we're using our Brexit freedoms to reach a bilateral free trade agreement. And today, Prime Minister Modi and I told our negotiators to get it done by Diwali in October. This could double our trade and investment by the end of the decade, driving down prices for consumers and increasing wages across the UK by as much as £3 billion. So what we're getting on with here is delivering on the priorities of the British people, but also deepening a friendship with a nation with whom we have profound ties of language, culture and kinship, while making both our countries safer and our economies stronger. And we're going to take a few questions from the media, and we have, I'm going to go first to some UK journalists and then to some of our Indian colleagues. So first of all, can I go to Ben Wright of the BBC?
Thank you, Prime Minister. In your discussions about Ukraine, did you ask Prime Minister Modi to use his influence in Moscow to put pressure on Russia? And did you get any sense that he would do that? And on trade, you said there'll be a free trade agreement with India by Diwali. but considering the number of party investigations going on back home, are you absolutely sure you'll still be Prime Minister then?
Okay, the second answer is yes, but on the on your point about Ukraine and the Indian perspective. Look, I mean, I think you have to recognise that the Indians have actually, and Narendra Modi in particular, have come out and been very strong in their language about what's happened in Bucha, and talking to Narendra, to Prime Minister Modi today, it's clear that he has already intervened several times, and I'm sure this is no secret from our Indian friends. He's intervened several times with Vladimir Putin, really to ask him what on earth he thinks he's doing, and where he thinks this is going. And what the Indians want is peace, and they want the Russians out. And I totally agree with that. And I think that there's a difference in the balance clearly, because India has a historic relationship with Russia, which everybody understands and respects. That goes back decades. But what was so interesting about the last couple of days has been the way in which Britain and India are being really encouraged, obliged by the pressure of events today. As I say, autocratic coercion, whether it's in Russia or China or wherever, to do more together, and that is, I think, offering up a huge joint agenda. And there are three big areas where you're seeing work being done now. They're on the green growth side, big agenda for us, clean power, and a lot of work is being done on that. They're on the security and defence side, and a huge amount there, which I could go into, and then of course on the trade agreement. And there, I think, all trade agreements are tricky, Ben, to get to your point about trade, but and there will be tough asks of both sides, but I'm sure we can do it. And what you got today was a massive push from both governments to get it done, and so I'm very encouraged. Anushka Astana, ITV.
So, thank you, Prime Minister. You say that Prime Minister Modi has asked Vladimir Putin what on earth he's doing, but we know that India has abstained on key motions at the UN over this. Its Foreign Secretary has just come out and said you didn't put any pressure on India to change its position. Why isn't that? What did the Prime Minister say that convinced you more pressure was not necessary? Just one more question. You're facing 3 investigations back home, and it's led to a catastrophic loss in trust. Polling this week from YouGov says that 74% of the British public think you're untrustworthy. Only 12% think you're trustworthy. Some say you're like a cat with 9 lives. How many have you got left?
Well, Anushka, on your second question, we had talking about cats. We had a pretty good kick of the cat yesterday. Not that I'm in favour of kicking cats for the avoidance of doubt, but we did all that with great respect. And what we're talking about today is, as I said in my answer to Ben, is the ways in which the situation, not just in Ukraine, but the situation around the world, is obliging the UK and India to do more together. And the position on the position on Russia that the Indians have historically is well known. They are not going to change that. Of course, that's true, but they are. They can see what is going on, and there is an increasing appetite to do more with the UK. And if you look at what just in the security and defence side of it, on maritime propulsion, electric maritime propulsion of ships, on new collaboration on new aero engines, on undersea capabilities, on cyber, helicopters, space, a huge new joint agenda. And that is being driven by contemporary events. And I think it's a positive thing. It's a great opportunity. And it's fully, what it does is it helps to drive the Make in India agenda of Prime Minister Modi, but also helps to drive the idea of co-production and doing things together. And that's where I think the opportunity is. Hugo Guy, the Eye.
Thank you, Prime Minister. You've made it clear you don't want to talk about questions over your future and over your conduct, but...
From the Prime Minister of the UK, who's essentially spoken about the fact that New Delhi has intervened with Vladimir Putin, Russian president, and that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has done it several times, is what Boris Johnson said. Also, he started this press conference very, very importantly by condemning Russia's offensive in Ukraine and saying that UK is now going to reopen its embassy in Kiev.